I took it. I took a picture of it.
Playing video games.
Yeah, I see his little
So we're live.
iPad.
10 o'clock.
He plays and watches Minions.
Here we
He's
go.
crazy about
Here we go.
All right. I have 10 o'clock, Ms. Ball,
Yes.
the same. We'll call the July 20th, 2015 session of the regular meeting of the Limestone County Commission to order. Do we have any public comments?
No one except for the, your construction updates.
Okay. Jim, Kelly, whoever, courthouse or jail? You're completely done, ready to move in?
Yes, sir.
All right, that's what I wanted to hear.
How y'all doing this morning?
Doing great, Kelly.
see
How are
you.
you?
All right, you know, we've kind of been slowed down with all the structural repair issues that came about in the last couple of months, but now we've started back. We've got several crews on site. We are doing the heating and cooling. That hasn't stopped. It continues on. The plumbing rough end has been continuing for the last month. We've actually started some of the structural repairs for wall penetrations where duct are going through, and that's going pretty smooth, pretty quickly. Garber Construction's back on site now, and they have started some of the other structural repairs. We're mainly concentrating on the wall openings because that has more stuff penetrating those. So they'll be working on that this week, fixing those openings and reworking the openings to the elevator at each floor. Those doors have to be widened to receive the new elevator. And when we tore into that, we found that there wasn't anything supporting the wall above those openings when they put the elevator in 74, so we've got to do some repairs there also. We've got the plans almost ready for the roofing. We should have that out this week and ready to start advertising for bid and set up a date to we can receive bids on the roofing repairs. And that's about where we're at now. Thank you.
Yeah, I was in there this past week. That's a lot of steel involved with just bracing those openings, wasn't it?
Yes.
Was that 6/8" angle iron steel and
Plus,
3/8 steel plate around?
yeah, and you've got a solid steel plate on top of all of that
I've
that
seen that.
supports the whole width of that wall. So it's, those are pretty heavy
Good deal.
construction. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. Jim, now it's July after the 4th.
That's right. We're done. No. We are almost done. We are in that almost done position. It is looking very good. We're putting down flooring. We'll be going to some final cleaning measures here in about a week. We are right now we're doing the sweep and compound sweep where we get back down to a real, a squeaky finish floor. We've got areas now where we've got contractors working in boot socks only or just, socks to protect the floor. We finished the ceramic carpet, it's called, in all the cells and all the mechanical areas. And the walking platforms. I think you're really going to like the floor coatings on this project. The architect made a couple of changes from the existing facility. One going with the polished concrete in the day rooms, and we put just a touch of pigment into that to make it look just like concrete, of course, which was the desire, but also to give it a more uniform look. And then that's burnished in place, and it never comes up, it never fades. It is a permanent floor. Also in all the cells, we have the ceramic carpet, which has a hard shell. You're not going to be able to ever pick that up. You're not going to be able to buff any of the granules out. So it gives kind of a non-slip texture, but also making a permanent, very enduring surface. So the inside of the jail is almost finished. We'll be running our first punch list at the end of this week or maybe Monday of next week, depending on how things go. In getting our VCT down. We're putting furniture in starting today in the day rooms and the cells. And then we're going to be doing all of our low voltage work. Right now we're making sure the interlocks work for smoke evac and things of that nature. So we're down to the details inside. Outside is lagging behind the inside. We had a couple of small problems on the outside. It's got us about a week or so behind the inside. We've tied in the last sewer line, come across the street. And now we're about to go to subgrade, finished grade, light pole bases, and exterior stairs.
You think, what, 2 to 3 weeks?
2 to 3 weeks we'll be gone.
Okay.
We'll be out of the way on the interior as early as a week and a half, but that won't necessarily help the sheriff's department if they chose to use it, because I'm sure they would have to have the exterior fully functional with the exercise yards to make the interior useful.
When I was up there a couple weeks ago to tour it with you, you talked to me about some cameras
Mhm.
that needed to be changed. Have they been changed?
We have asked for two more prices that we were gonna present to y'all. You know, you could do them now, you could do them later, it'd be a choice, but we've also asked for two prices. One is to add pan tilt zoom in each of the day rooms. Right now, the day rooms have two fixed cameras. Two fixed cameras can see the building, I mean, the whole day room community as a whole, but you can't necessarily look at every single door, which, discussing with the sheriff's department, they do need to be able to do. So the less expensive measure to take there is to change only one of those two fixed camera positions to a pan tilt zoom position. Then you can see the entirety of the day room, as well as move on to each cell door to make sure that there's no problems. Expose any areas that might be hard to see otherwise, like behind the vending machine and things like that, you know. One other item that we asked for a price on that we could present to y'all was to change some of the water routing. It's installed the way that it was intended to be, but there may be some increased functionality that is desired, and so I've put that together, and those two things, I hope to have a price on both of them to bring to you this week to go over.
Sounds good. Thank you,
All right,
Jim.
thanks.
Appreciate it. Ms. Ball, at this time, would you call roll, please?
Commissioner Hill,
Here.
Commissioner Turner,
Here.
Commissioner Black,
Here.
Commissioner Harrison.
Here.
Oh, everyone's here. Mr. Black, would you lead the pledge?
Do it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Our first item is to approve the minutes, but there was only 1 minute, set of minutes available, and then they'll be at the next commission meeting. I think Ms. Kay is still out, and she does that. All right, next item. Have a motion to approve claims submitted before the commission in the amount of $1,194,271.75. Do I hear a motion to do so?
So moved. Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Turner, and I have a second by Mr. Hill. Any discussion?
Yeah, I would just like for everybody to know, if you've got questions about these checks, there is a check register that is posted every day on the counter down at the commission office. Feel free to come by and look at it.
Thank you, sir. If there's no more discussion, we'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Turner,
Aye.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Commissioner Black,
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. There are no resolutions or orders to come before the commission. The next item is contracts, agreements, and grants. Has approved an agreement with Election Systems Software LLC at ES&S Software Hosting System and Services, provide an address-specific sample ballot on voter education website. Per election setup fee, $10 a machine, 35 machines. Do I hear a motion to do so?
I'll make the motion.
I have a motion by Mr. Black. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
I have a second by Mr. Harrison. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, we'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Black,
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison.
Aye.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Commissioner Turner.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Next item, approve ongoing assurance maintenance plan with SCYTL Software Clarity Connect Voter ED Web Portal Suite, $4,900 annually, which is in conjunction with the previous item approved. Do I hear a motion to approve such?
I make a motion.
Have a motion by Mr. Turner. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Have a second by Mr. Hill. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, we'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Turner,
Aye.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Commissioner Black,
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. Next item, approve agreement with Morrell Engineering to provide construction engineering and inspection services for a project in intersection improvements, US Highway 31, Huntsville Browns Ferry Road, in the amount of $53,450.44. This is Commissioner Black's district. Do I hear a motion to approve this agreement?
I'll make the motion.
Have a motion by Mr. Black. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Have a second by Mr. Turner or Mr. Harrison, whichever one. Any discussion? If no discussion, we'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Black?
Aye.
Commissioner Turner?
Aye.
Commissioner Hill?
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. There are no budget revisions to come before the commission. There are no emergency purchases. We have one board appointment, and that's to reappoint Commissioner Stanley Hill to the Community Action Partnership, Huntsville-Madison and Limestone County Incorporated Board. Do I hear a motion to do so?
So moved.
Have a motion by Mr. Turner. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Have a second by Mr. Black. Any discussion? If no discussion, we'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Turner?
Aye.
Commissioner Black?
Aye.
Commissioner Hill?
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Next item, award bids. This is for printing privilege license form for the License Commission. District 1 tilt bed trailer for District 1 and the gasoline diesel fuel bid. I hear a motion to award these bids.
Make a motion to approve.
I have a motion by Mr. Harrison. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
I have a second by Mr. Black. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Harrison?
Aye.
Commissioner Black?
Aye.
Commissioner Hill?
Aye.
Commissioner Turner?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. One thing I do need to do before we go here, and I apologize, Pamela, is, as we all know, and we've talked about, and they've wrote papers, our engineer of 30 years has chosen to retire and leave us. At this time, I'll ask for a motion to suspend the rules to be able to make an amendment to the job description. And the reason that is Richard, like me, is older and is old school. And when they did the Auburn study, they come in and asked everybody what they did. Well, Richard is of course, civil engineer, and he's a registered land surveyor. And that's, which back in the days that when Richard started, you had that, but that's, you just don't find a lot of people with those two qualifications no more. So this is an attempt to amend that for it to eliminate the requirement for a land surveyor. And that way would increase the pools and have a better chance of widening the area of people who might apply for the job. At this time, I'll ask for a motion to suspend the rules.
Make a motion to suspend the rules.
I have a motion by Mr. Harrison. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a second by Mr. Turner. Any discussion? If no discussion, we'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Harrison?
Aye.
Commissioner Turner?
Aye.
Commissioner Hill?
Aye.
Commissioner Black?
Aye.
Thank you. Now, Pamela, can we not move to that now to approve that?
You can, if you want to take, yes, you can.
Okay, well, we'll go ahead since we're on that and ask for a motion to amend. And you have the job description. They're available to anybody who wants a copy of it. Commissioners have it.
Make a motion to amend.
Thank you, Mr. Harrison. I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
I have a second by Mr. Black. Any discussion? If no discussion, we'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Harrison?
Aye.
Commissioner Black?
Aye.
Commissioner Hill?
Aye.
Commissioner Turner?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. This time, personnel action will approve to hire the following individuals for the position of correction officers pending drug and alcohol screening. Y'all all have the list before you. Do I hear the motion to make this personnel action to hire these folks?
I make a motion.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Turner. I have a second by Mr. Hill. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, we'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Turner?
Aye.
Commissioner Hill?
Aye.
Commissioner Black?
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Next item, merit increases. Approve the following merit increases. You have a list before you and available to the public. Do I hear a motion to grant these merit increases as submitted to the commission?
I'll make the motion.
I have a motion by Mr.
Second.
Black. I have a second by Mr. Turner. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, we'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Black?
Aye.
Commissioner Turner?
Aye.
Commissioner Hill?
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. Next item, we'll move to the engineer report. Mr. Sanders.
Have two subdivision, Arbors Addition Number 5 is a major subdivision in District 2, north side of Newby Road, addition to an existing subdivision, 45 new lots. And then also Bain subdivision, this is addition 4. It's a minor subdivision in District 1. It's just a moving of a existing lot line. It's between 2 lots, doesn't create any new lots, and it's all on Bain Road.
And your recommendation is to approve these?
Both of them are in order for approval.
Do I have a motion to approve these?
I make a motion to approve.
I have a motion by Mr. Turner. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
I have a second by Mr. Black. Any discussion? No discussion. We'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Turner,
Aye.
Commissioner Black,
Aye.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. In other business, item 1, approved to purchase a 2016 Mack truck, chassis and dump body for District 1. Do I hear a motion to do so?
So move.
I have a motion by Mr. Hill. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
I have a second by Mr. Black. Any discussion? There's no discussion. We'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Commissioner Black.
Aye.
Commissioner Turner.
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Our next item, approved to remove from inventory a 2007 Dodge Charger. I think this is a vehicle that had been wrecked with the Sheriff's Department, I think. Yeah, and then Alpha is, we've already got the check, money and deposit for $12,148.38. That was totaled. Do I hear a motion to remove this from inventory?
I'll make the motion.
I have a motion by Mr. Black. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by either Mr. Turner or Mr. Hill. They say it in unison. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, we'll call for the vote.
Black,
Aye.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Commissioner Turner.
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Next item, approve the following change orders for the jail expansion project in the amount of $5,994.58. I think Jim went over these, or did it the last meeting, I think, didn't you? Well, we went over. Do I have a motion to approve these change orders?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Black and a second by Mr. Turner. Any discussions or question for Jim? If no more discussion, we'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Black.
Aye.
Commissioner Turner.
Aye.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Next item, approve to amend a portion of the Rules of Procedure, Section 5, Order of Business. Do I hear a motion to do so?
Make a motion to approve.
I have a motion by Mr. Harrison. Do I hear a second? I'll ask once again, do I hear a second? If no second, motion fails for lack of a second. We'll move on to the next item on the agenda. Scheduled public hearings. This is to close out the East Limestone Senior Center. Now, this is where I turn it over to you, I believe, if you wouldn't mind stepping up to the microphone.
Absolutely. There is a purple assignment sheet if you didn't get it, and here is a summary of what I'm gonna kinda go over. You can pass it around. You got one, if anybody is interested. What this is the state provides grants, 3 different types, basically from their Community Development Block Grant Program. They provide a general grant that normally folks look for say, water and sewer out in rural areas and moving old pipes and problematic things that have happened. They have a second program for industrial development where they will provide like water and sewer lines for an area where someone says, if you get me a wastewater line, we'll expand our plant or we'll build a new plant, et cetera. And we have a third category, which is called community enhancement grants, which is projects that don't exactly fit in there, but that's something that a community really wants. And in this particular case, that's the category of grant we applied for money for the senior center. What it is basically all these grants, the way they do them, HUD has an income characteristic, what they call low and moderate income persons, of which at least 50% of your beneficiaries of a grant must fall into. for a grant for community enhancement for a senior center in specific. They make the assumption that with fixed incomes and that type of things, that it's a gimme, as it were, that at least 51% of your seniors that would use that type of facility would fall into that income. And starting back in about 2011, the county, of course, realized that over in the expanding East Limestone area, in terms of getting all the way into the city to use the Athens facility and other things, that having a community senior facility out there would be a good idea. And originally, the Council on Aging had rented some space on a temporary basis to do some meals. And then about mid-2011, the county rented a facility on Nick Davis Road, which had been the old Corinth Church, and followed by a little sort of plaza for businesses and all in there, and basically put the senior center function in there. And by 2012, it became pretty obvious that everybody liked that was out there, and that facility had a lot of interest and a lot of loyalty from the seniors that were going out there. And so the county decided to apply for a grant to buy the building and clean up some small electrical and some things that needed to be done with it. And we applied for 2012 and received a grant for $250,000, which was the most you could apply for, with the estimate at that time that it cost probably about $400,000 to do the project. Subsequently, after we got the grant, it turned out that, of course, between 2011, when they estimated the value of buying the building, that by 2013, the way growth was taking place in the area and all, it wound up costing about $35,000 more to buy the building than had been originally estimated, because HUD makes you go out and get 2 appraisals, fair market value, to be able to buy something like that. So after they bought the building, county retained Goodman, Mills, and Kaywood to go out and do a significant analysis of it before we put it out for bids as to what needed to be done with it. Originally, when the bids had been put together and we had designed the project for the application, we had felt that we could use a FEMA wood construction to harden a room to make a safe room in it for tornado safety, and which would have probably cost about $35,000 or so. After the analysis of the building, it turned out, and you had to pull up part of the floor to make sure that there was not a significant enough foundation under that end of the building that they were going to put a center safe room in to do it. And that to do a safe room was going to require digging down substantially, putting in basically a foundation poured concrete, rebar, steel across the top, and a much more significant involvement than had been originally figured. But in terms of doing it and having it be a safe building for the seniors and other area citizens to go to, there wasn't any other way to do it. Bids were let in September of 2014, and it came in at about $244,000 to do the substantial redesign of the safe room and some minor things like cleaning up one of the restrooms to meet ADA standards and other activities. When the process got started, it was discovered that the area underneath where they were going to put the senior center safe room had a water infiltration, and so we had to stop, and the county also put a French drain down beside the building. And in addition, while they were there, the county itself looked at several other things, like one of the old heating and air conditioning units needed to be replaced, and also the windows on the outside of the building didn't represent, ideal thermal characteristics, so those were replaced. When everything was through, the project had wound up costing about $640,000, with $250,000 of it coming from the CDBG program. And in April, we held the grand reopening, and if any of you haven't been out there, it is a very nice facility. I'll stay and be here afterward if anybody has any questions about the project or anything. And you have until like this time next Monday, if you want an answer to any questions, to either ask or to submit them to writing to the clerk, and we will get you back an answer within 7 days after that. And I thank you very much for your indulgence.
Thank you, sir. At this time, we'll move to the report of the officers. Commissioner Hill.
Yes, I'd like to thank all the commissioners for the help when we chip seal. They send trucks to help us, and paving crew. I'd like to thank them for that. I'd like to thank the IT department, David Freeman and his staff for getting us live streaming. And I'd also like to thank the commission for the appointment of the CAP organization. And we have finished the chip sealing on Fain Road and Guthrie Road, and also the parking lots at Pine Chapel. And we are experiencing some cross pipes throughout the district that was metal or is metal. So if you hit a dip in the road, at some point we will be replacing them. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Turner.
Going on right now in the district, we're just bush hogging, trying to get the sides of the road looking nice. I think we finally got the East Limestone Road situated where we put the new pipe in. It's not settling anymore. So just be on the lookout for the guys on the bush hog tractors, and be aware that there's a possibility they do sling items out from under the bush hog that we may or may not be able to see in the grass. So just be careful when you're passing by.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Black.
Well, we've been doing some bush hogging as everyone else has, but we've started doing some chip sealing. We'll be chip sealing a parking lot there at Clements High School for the teachers and the lunchroom ladies. Also, we've been helping haul for East Limestone School with Commissioner Turner. I'd also like to thank Steve Haraway from Madison County for asking us to help assist them with James Clemens High School and hauling sand for their turf management. So we enjoyed doing that. We got a lot of people that go to that school that some people don't know that actually live in Limestone County. So we're glad to assist them with that.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Harrison.
Well, like Stanley, we've got a lot of corrugated pipes that are failing underneath the roads, and we're replacing those as we go. We've got a place on Easter Ferry that we're going to have to address that's a fairly major cross drain. We did try the new technique that we're doing for patching those, going on back over with plant mix. We transferred that steel roller a couple of months ago, and we invested $300 or $400 in it, got it running. And with that and the new technique, we replaced last week pipes over under Myers Road and Lydia Corey, and the crew did a really good job with that. It's fairly smooth. You can't, it's not imperceptible, but it's a whole lot better than what we've been doing in the past.
Thank you, sir. I do want to announce Mike Nave is our Director of Parks and Rec Board, and Richard Martin come by this morning and said our Rails to Trails trail has been labeled as the 11th best trail in America. It's a good accomplishment there. Mike and his board, they do an outstanding job. Jackie Greenhall, it's a bunch of them. It's really involved. And I believe we had a former commissioner, Mr.
Yes,
Black.
I was on that, yes.
So we're
I believe with a little bit more weed eating from Stanley Hill and his people up there, we'll pass the Appalachian Trail in the next couple of years.
It is an accomplishment, and I just want to say, and I would like to say thank you for Lauren. Lauren, you've done a great job. Michelle, you've done a great job. I hope we have a fair amount of people watching this live stream, and I hope that grows, because it's just one more step in the effort to be more open, honest, and transparent to the people of Limestone County that we represent and that we work for every day. I want to thank everyone for coming. Y'all have a great day. Try not to get too hot. And with that, we will recess until 10 a.m. on Wednesday, July 29, 2015, at the Washington Street Courthouse.